Well, hello and welcome to Positivity Now, the show that focuses on all things positive. I am your host, Jonas Cain, and today we're talking about the next step in the process of thinking, being, and staying positive. And I have a little story that's going to help us get into this idea. And it happened a number of years ago. I was visiting a lake in Wisconsin. I spent a couple nights at this cabin at this lake, and on the last day of the trip, I realized something. I realized that I hadn't gone for a swim in the lake yet. And now my younger self would not have even have wanted to jump in the lake to go for a swim. But I had been feeling adventurous as of late at that time, so I decided I wanted to jump into the lake and go for a swim. And there was this floating dock out towards the middle, and I started swimming towards the dock. But then I hesitated. And I hesitated because I thought, well, what if I drowned? What if I had a medical emergency and I drowned? So I swam back to shore and just sat on the shore. And I got to really thinking how my younger self would not even have had this. I mean, my younger self wouldn't have even have gone swimming anyway, but my younger self, even if I did want to swim, wouldn't have had the thought of not wanting to be a burden to the owners of this cabin. But as I was sitting on the shore, something profound, something just clicked for me. And it's the reason why I'm telling you this story. As I sat there, I thought to myself, if I had someone with me, I would swim out to that floating dock. If I had someone there with me to make the risks a little less risky. To be sure, the reason that I didn't swim out to the floating dock wasn't out of a fear of dying, because just a few days earlier, before this event, I had gone skydiving. And I had never gone skydiving before, but I didn't just jump out of the plane willy-nilly. No, I was literally strapped to someone who had made that same jump thousands and thousands of times before, making the risk less risky. And that's the power of having a coach. That's the power of having a mentor. And that's what I realized sitting on the shore. I thought, what else am I not doing in my life? Because I've never had someone to make the risks of whatever it is I'm avoiding a little less risky, so I can jump into action and swim into the direction of my destiny. And that's the topic of today's episode. Enjoy. Today's episode is the next step in the process of thinking, being, and staying positive. Positive, of course, is our acronym for the 8 steps for thinking, being, and staying positive. If the question is, are you positive? Well, today's answer is we have to ask, are we investing in worthy guides? This step is about investing in worthy guides. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus, in his book, The Art of Living, has a suggestion here about why this is important. He says, one of the best ways to elevate your character immediately is to find worthy role models to emulate. There's a couple things here. One is that one is too small a number for greatness. I'm reminded of the quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Because having worthy role models to emulate will help to give us perspective. It helps to give us advice, help to give us words of wisdom along the way. Now, there is a reason why successful athletes in successful teams have coaches. Now, these coaches are people who have prior knowledge, they have experience, and they're able to offer their perspective, advice, and encouragement in that sport. But in the arena of life, it's the same type of idea. And I would suggest that if it's good enough for Tom Brady and the New England Patriots to have their coach Belichick, well, then it's good enough for me to have my own coaches and mentors in my own sphere of expertise. For example, I have a magic coach. I have a speaking coach. I'm not a natural speaker. When I was a child, incredibly shy, wouldn't talk to anyone. I had a severe stutter. I could barely get one word out. We have home videos of me as a child trying to speak, and no one could understand what I was trying to say. So I've experienced firsthand from very early on the power of having coaches and mentors to help us with things that are troubling us. So I have a magic coach, a speaking coach, I have a business coach, a spiritual coach. In your life, it might be a cooking coach. It might literally be a sports coach. It might be a dance coach. The idea is to be able to find people who have achieved success in whatever it is you're working on and gaining perspective from them. So with this, two questions come up. Two questions are, one, how do you find a worthy guide? And then, of course, the next question is, how do you know if they are a worthy guide? Because just because someone is a potential guide, that doesn't mean that they are a good fit for you. So I'm just going to list off a couple or a number of people who might be potential coaches for you. It might be someone who is a teacher or professor. There might be a manager or a supervisor at work, a pastor, a counselor. There might be a parent or a grandparent, an aunt or an uncle. There might be a friend, a business leader, and the list could really go on and on and on. And these are general terms, but even within those, you have people who have expertise in various places. The idea is that it's someone who has been to the top, has achieved something, some level of success, however it's defined by you, and they are also eager to help you achieve that as well. So a coach, to be a worthy coach, they'll be able to help you answer three key questions in whatever sphere of life, whatever life environment, whether health, career, family, friends. They'll be able to help you answer three questions about whatever it is you're working on. Number one, they'll be able to help you identify potential obstacles that you'll meet along the way. The next, they'll be able to help you answer the question of what skills that you need to train for and hone. And then the last one, they'll be able to help you if it's the right time. There is a season for everything, and windows of opportunities come and go. And the best time for harvesting might not be in the winter, just as a oversimplified example. So they'll be able to help you determine when to plan and when to act. I would suggest that planning is always in season, because if we fail to plan, if we don't make any preparation, let's say we don't get a coach, we don't get a mentor, and we just fly by life, instead of growing through life, we just go through life. Instead of being just a year older, I would suggest that we should be a year wiser as well on our birthday. So if we don't make those plans, when the window of opportunity comes along, well, oh my goodness, it's too late, because that is not the time to plan. That is the time to act, and a good coach will help you be able to figure that out. So another question we have here is to find a mentor that is specific to what you're doing. There's 5 simple criteria here in order to find one. It's number one, you have to ask yourself what it is you want to do in whatever life environment it is. Number 2, you're going to be looking for publications, books and videos, magazines, articles, classes, certifications that address whatever it is you want to do. Diving into these resources will reveal the gap between the skills and the knowledge that you'll need to get from where you are to where you want to be. Next, you'll ask yourself if there's anyone in your circle of family, friends, colleagues, peers, classmates, someone who is a prospective mentor for you in this area. There's always someone who will be eager to help, especially if they know us well. Now, once you've gone with the people in your immediate sphere, the next question is, do you know people who know people? So instead of being a prospective mentor themselves, maybe they can connect you to someone who could be a mentor. So we have prospects and we have connectors. And then start reaching out to these people. You'll be surprised how many people are truly eager to help, largely because oftentimes people don't get asked for their advice or for their expertise all that often. So you will truly be surprised how many people are willing to share the knowledge that has helped them achieve a level of success. And the last bit of advice for finding a mentor is don't forget to shoot for a celebrity mentor. Now, a celebrity in this sense doesn't have to be a literal movie star or a rock star. It doesn't have to be someone who is on TV. A celebrity, it's subjective. It could just be someone that you don't really know that well. Perhaps you've never even met them, but it's someone who you know is very well respected widely in that field. It could be a highly published author. It could be a popular lecturer, something like that. And reach out to them. I had an experience a number of years ago where I had an opportunity. It presented itself to me. I attended a lecture by a prominent magician by the name of Eugene Berger. And I grew up idolizing this man, watching him on television during documentaries, reading his books, studying his magic. And he was someone that not only I respected, but everyone in the magic community respected as well. And I attended his lecture. Said the customary hello and shook his hand, and I knew he lived in Chicago, and it just happened that a few weeks from then I was going to be visiting Chicago, so I took out his business card and just sent him an email, and I said, you might not remember me, but I attended your workshop. I'm going to be in Chicago. Might we be able to get together? I can buy you a cup of coffee. It was a long shot. But he said yes. He said he would love to have me over. So I got to go and sit in the living room of this idol of mine that I've been idolizing for years, simply because, one, I knew what I wanted. I knew where I wanted to achieve a level of success. And I had the nerve, the guts to just ask for it, to just reach out and know to ask. And while I was there, I want to show you this because this is kind of special. He did a magic trick for me, and it was a card trick. But unlike any other card trick, he simply had me. He laid out the cards face up, and he just had me select one. And he turned it over. It was the only card in the stack that had this written on it. It said Jonas, to Jonas, from Eugene Berger. And I turned over all the other cards. No other card had this on the back. It was, to me, it was mind-blowing. Here I was sitting in this man's living room, seeing the most amazing magic trick I had ever seen. It was an amazing experience. But the moral of the story is this: don't be afraid to shoot for the celebrity mentor, because they can share real gold with you. I have one last suggestion when it comes to working with a mentor, having a mentor, and it's to, when you meet with them, especially if you meet with them not just once, but really on an ongoing basis, to have 4 points that you address with them. The first point that you have is you tell them, this is what I asked you last time. Then you say, this is what you shared with me. Number 3, this is what I did with that information. And then number 4, you say, here are my questions now. So by going through this list, you're doing a few things. One, you're really acknowledging that experience is not the best teacher, but its reflective experience is the best teacher. It's also acknowledging that knowledge itself is not power, but it's applied knowledge. You could ask this mentor questions all day long, but unless you actually apply that information, well, what's the point of meeting with them to begin with? But it also communicates something else to the mentor. So it's not only something that's helping you, but it's also communicating to this coach of yours that you value their time and you value their input, and it's showing that you're serious about what you're doing by putting their knowledge and experience to practice. So I hope you've enjoyed this talk on investing in worthy guides and how it applies to thinking, being, and staying positive. Enjoy.